Today on Sugar Spun Run, I'll be showing you how to make peanut butter chocolate chip cookies. Hey Sugar Spun bakers, Sam here, and today I am so excited to be sharing another carefully tested, well-researched, and perfected recipe. These cookies are perfectly soft and chewy, loaded with peanut butter flavor, and sweetened with just a touch of honey. I think you're going to absolutely love them, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you'll want to do is grab yourself a large mixing bowl, and you're going to want to melt 1 cup of unsalted butter. Now after you've melted the butter, it is really important that you let it cool until it's no longer warm to the touch. It should still be liquid. You just don't want it to be super hot or it will melt your sugars and your cookies will spread all over your oven and you'll have a greasy cookie dough. Now the next thing we're going to be adding is 1 cup of creamy peanut butter. You could substitute crunchy peanut butter if you wanted, but I don't recommend using natural peanut butter, you know, the kind where oil separates to the top and you have that substantial layer of oil. That could mess with the consistency of the cookies and can make them really crumbly and dry. Next, we'll add our sugar, and you need a cup each of firmly packed light brown sugar and a cup of granulated sugar. Now we'll stir all of these ingredients together until they're completely combined. I'm going to try to do this with my spatula, but if it's not combining well, I'll switch over to my electric mixer. The next thing I like to add is 3 tablespoons of honey. As I said, this adds a nice subtle touch of honey to the cookies that pairs really well with the peanuts and the peanut butter flavor. I do want to make sure I get all of that in. The honey also serves another point. It is a liquid ingredient, and peanut butter tends to really make cookies a little bit more cakey and it makes them puff up. By adding this extra liquid, it helps flatten out the cookies and make them more soft and chewy, which is what I look for in a cookie. We're also going to be adding 2 large eggs. Crack these in a separate bowl right here. Add these right into our mixing bowl, along with a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then once again, we'll stir everything together until it's completely combined. All right, now let's set this aside, and you are going to need a separate medium-sized mixing bowl. And to this, we are going to add 3 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. I can already tell this bowl is way too small, but we are just gonna roll with it. We're gonna make it work. We're also going to add a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of salt. We're just using regular table salt, and we will whisk these ingredients together until they are completely combined. I'm gonna go nice and slow because I don't want my flour to end up all over my counter. Could have been worse. So I do want to make sure that the ingredients are well distributed, and I feel thoroughly confident that they are now. So we'll bring back our peanut butter mixture, and I'm just going to gradually add the flour mixture to the peanut butter mixture. I'll do this in 3 or 4 parts, stirring until all of the flour mixture has been absorbed. And today I am making this recipe just by stirring everything together by hand, but alternatively, you could absolutely use a hand mixer or a stand mixer instead. Add a little bit more. Now, one of the things that I really love about a cookie dough made with melted butter is that it is so easy to make it by hand without bringing in any extra equipment. However, another thing I love about using melted butter is that the butter, how many times can I say melted butter? It coats all of the gluten, all of the flour in the cookie dough, so it just makes for a chewier cookie. It typically tends to make the cookies a little bit flatter, so we're going to be chilling our cookie dough before we actually bake it. It's just a necessary evil, but it is worth it. All right, now we'll add the last of our flour mixture. We'll stir this in. All right, once all of the flour mixture is absorbed, we can add our add-ins. Of course, for today's recipe, we'll be using chocolate chips. Milk chocolate pairs really well with peanut butter, so that's my preference. I'll be adding 1 1/2 cups of milk chocolate chips. And then for a nice subtle crunch, we're going to be adding a heaping cup, I like to say, of peanuts. These are dry roasted peanuts, and I have coarsely chopped them. I think this helps distribute them through the batter a little bit better, and it gives you a nice pop of texture instead of just big whole peanuts in the cookies. Now just stir everything together until those mix-ins are well distributed into the dough. Not losing any chips on my watch. All right, our dough looks great. So now I am going to cover the bowl with some plastic wrap. If I can sort this out. I hate plastic wrap. Never cooperates for me. And as I mentioned, chilling the dough is necessary for this recipe. So I'm going to, if I can figure out how to cover it, I'm going to pop this in my refrigerator and chill it for 30 minutes. All right, now 15-20 minutes before we start baking the cookies, you're going to want to get your oven preheating to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, once your dough is finished chilling, you can grab yours out of the fridge. I've grabbed mine. You can uncover it and start scooping. All right, now I will be scooping these cookie dough balls into about 2 tablespoon-sized scoops. I'm using my 1.5 tablespoon scoop and just making it nicely rounded. You could absolutely just drop these straight on a baking sheet, but because I want my cookies to look a little bit more uniform and more rounded, I am just going to roll them between my palms to make them nice and round. And the dough may kind of seem a little bit crumbly, like it wants to fall apart. That's just because of our peanuts and our chocolate chips. So just force it back into a ball shape. We'll place the cookies at least 2 inches apart on our baking sheet. Now we'll take these over to our 350° Fahrenheit preheated oven where they will bake in the center rack for about 12 minutes.
Mom, looking likely.
Looking pretty great?
Yep.
Now once the cookies have come out of the oven, one optional thing that I like to do sometimes is grab a couple of extra milk chocolate chips, and while the cookies are still warm, like within 1 or 2 minutes of them coming out of the oven, I will gently nestle them on top of each cookie. This just adds, first of all, it adds a little bit of extra chocolate. Look how funny that one looks. And secondly, it just makes them look nice and bakery style. One of my favorite tricks for really dressing up your cookies, but again, totally optional. They'll still taste delicious if you skip this step. Now we will let these cookies cool completely on the baking sheet before we dig in. All right, these cookies have finished cooling and they are ready to eat. And do you know how I know that they're ready to eat?
Yes.
How?
Like 60 minutes.
Actually, I know because you're here and you always show up when the food is ready. So we are about to taste test these, but first I wanted to say thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this recipe, and if you try it out, please leave me a comment and let me know what you think.
Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.
Okay, Luke, which one do you want?
This one.
Okay, take it. And we're gonna try them together, okay?
Okay.
You ready? Cheers. Oh, close.
Mmm.
Do you like it?
Mm-hmm.
That's good, huh?
Mm-hmm.
What's it taste like?
Peanut butter chocolate chip tastes right.
I'll be here all day. All right, at this point, my cookies have cooled completely, and do you know how I can tell, Luke?
Uh-huh.
How?
Like 20 minutes.
All right, at this point, the cookies have finished cooling completely, and do you know how I can tell they finished?
Yes.
How?
Like 60 seconds.